While you've been looking through all the Restitched footage revealed so far, you might have been wondering, hey wait, is this game a 2D platformer with movement between layers? Or is Restitched actually a fully 3D game? I know I sure have been asking myself that. Hell, I literally read everything the devs share on their Discord, and months in, even I still wasn't sure what type of movement Restitched had. Looking at the original reveal trailer, it all seems pretty 2D. Then you watch the second trailer and doubt starts to creep in. Certain scenes definitely make it look like 3D, but when you watch the level area segment you're like, no. Surely this game plays in 2D? Well, I've got good news for all you doubters, because I finally found a definite answer from a reliable source. I can't tell you who that source is, but it's Helston. It's always Helston, project lead at Trixel Creative. Recently, there was a discussion on Discord about the movement of Restitched, and Helston gave it straight to us. It's a 2.5D game with 3D movement. Like Little Nightmares. You'll notice the 3D movement from the trailer too. That's right, despite popular belief, Restitched takes inspiration from more than just a single source. I think it's natural that people would assume an LBP inspired game would have similar movement or mechanics, but that's where they differ a lot in my opinion. As most of you are probably aware of, Little Big Planet was a game where movement happened in layers. It was like multiple 2D games stacked on top of each other, and one had to manually hop in and out of each one to make progress. We don't have that, says Helston. It's just 3D movement basically. There are some constraints to the movement too, like autocorrect and stuffy so you can't move off the back of a platform, though you can still jump and move off it if you want. The side movement has no prevention, naturally. You also can't accidentally fall off a surface from the front without holding the input long enough to hop down. Whoa, wait, does that mean you won't be able to make 2D platformers? Not necessarily. Helston states that, yes, you can make 2D movement levels if you like. There's a setting to disable layer movement. You can disable the manual layer movement, so Stuffy will only move left and right instead of in and out. The only way to change layers would be to use an object that does it for you, like teleporting to a new depth with the blink bubble. You can adjust the default camera settings so you could make it look flat, or you could just make it a 2D level in terms of movement, but keep the 3D look. Still, some of you who've been used to Little Big Planet's gameplay instead of traditional 3D platformers might still be a little bit worried. Won't it be confusing to know which layer you are if Stuffy moves like they don't exist? And won't it be challenging to land on single layer platforms? Yeah, I was a big LBP fan of course, so it took an adjustment to break that habit in my brain. Haha, I haven't played LBP in years now though, and it's easy to make levels for Stuffy as long as you give some breathing room for movement. As long as you don't design levels like you would in LBP, it hasn't been a huge issue so far. Of course, you can still make tight platforming with single layers, but it just takes a bit more skill and precision to land sometimes, which might be fun for people who want to make jump challenges. You can fix this with camera angle adjustments too, or tweak the gravity for more forgiving jumps, or change your level style to be more aligned with this movement. I think the big thing is that we wouldn't keep it if it felt wrong. This is what game dev is all about, especially as hobbyists. Personally, I like how open the game feels to play. I love using it with ledge climbing. It's pretty fun, or trampolines. I think if a problem were anywhere, air movement would be it. Freeform movement on the surface is the best part of the game in my opinion. I feel like you will always have those edge cases where people want to make something the game doesn't as easily support. For example, in LBP, people often made huge areas of open layers and forced you to hop between 10 of them at one time. It was annoying and not fun. The developers had the rule to only use 3 layers of open movement at a time. I'm sure their method of layer movement was easier, and that's why they limited it to 3 layers initially. By the time of the third game with 16 layers, it was a lot harder to use without free movement and proper level design. You'd often see people make huge open areas that you have to hop back and forth in. People will make the gameplay they want within the constraints of what's possible. All you can do is make the game we know feel fun to us. And then we have Saurus, one of Restitched 3D animators, who also had some comments to share on the topic. And boy am I happy not to quote Helston for once. Full 3D movement allows for more freedom and movement. 2.5D layer swapping will be more precise by principle, and this inspires tougher platforming. But the freedom of 360 degrees movement allows for more diverse gameplay. Both have advantages and disadvantages, and I can see why people would prefer one over the other. So when you've got fixed layer swapping like in LBP, you have to be grounded and press a single input many times to swap to the layer you want. With what we have, you can jump towards and away from the screen. It opens up some platforming potential. The main concern here being ambiguity between layers can cause concern, which is completely valid. But we have tools for this to reduce any confusion when platforming. Camera tools and drop shadows are a core component to Restitched to let the player be more precise with their movement. We're not a AAA team, it'll take us experimenting, but I hope people have faith that we're trying to make this game feel good to play. It's been our goal for many years now. We're not trying to turn apples into oranges. We can make adjustments to the way we want our game to play, which is free 3D movement. We can adjust jump height, speed, hit detection, but at the end of the day, it is free 3D. To change the gameplay style to be layer restricted, we are changing the game's goal. This is what I believe Helton was trying to suggest. We're open to feedback, but we also have to remain vigilant on making what we want to work. And that's that. If that didn't clear up any confusion about the movement in Restitched, I don't know what else will. I'm sure some of you might have been surprised by all of this. What's next, Piney? Are you gonna tell us Stuffy can be anything other than a bear eater? Well, about that.